Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my review for The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 9, and this was the mid-season premiere of The Walking Dead. This really should have been the mid-season finale. This episode really should have been the mid-season finale. Um, just because when you watch this episode, it's an episode that actually blew off all the storylines that was set up, but instead they threw it here instead of at the mid-season finale. So I feel like that this should have been the mid-season finale. But let's get right into this episode. It's called No Way Out, um, which was a very fitting title because, um, obviously the walkers were kind of trapping the group within the town. So I thought that was a pretty good name for the episode. And there was no way for the group to get out of it. So yeah, good name for the episode. And this episode came out on February 14th, 2016. Let's break this down. So this is kind of hard to do like an ups and downs type of thing for it because I kind of want to talk about everything all in order. So I will give ups and I will give downs. There's really no downs in this episode, though. I thought this episode was just great. I can't really think of like any like downs really that there is. So yeah. So let's talk about it. So the episode kicks off when Dale, Abraham, and Sasha are all stopped by a group of savages, basically. And one of them basically threatens them. Basically tells them to give them their guns and say that now they're their property. And basically they take Dale, Abraham, and Sasha's guns. They actually do this great line where like the main guy, they didn't say his name because they just didn't. I'll get into that in a second. But the main Savager says that there's a guy named Negan who is running this like this group that all the questions that they have for him they will answer. And he even says this great line to Abraham talking about how if he falls down on the floor and eats shit, then it's going to be a lot harder than just handing me your gun. And he even says eat shit, repeat, which I thought was funny. And he forces Dale to one of the guys to hold Dale at gunpoint and you know have Dale so that way Dale will give up his gun. So basically, the main guy threatens to kill Dale and no, Abraham and Sasha, and he's just like, just kidding, I'm not gonna kill you, because he was gonna go back to like the town and hold the whole group hostage. But he's like, oh, just kidding, and then eventually he's like, no, I'm gonna kill you guys anyways. And then Dale shoots all three everybody with a RPG launcher. And we found out that he had strangled the guy that was holding him gun hostage. And this absolutely ruled. This was actually really good way to open up this episode. So this gets it up. I don't know what it's leading to. I have a feeling we're gonna hear from this Negan guy. So I have no clue where this is going, but I just thought this was a great way to kick off the episode. And yeah, it was good. Even though what was strange about it was on the Netflix like info thing, it says that he face a new enemy, but really all they did was just kind of kill just a bunch of random guys. So I'm gonna kind of give this like a down because I was expecting a little bit more than what I got. Obviously, I think more is coming, but they made it with the Netflix thing. They made it false advertising, and obviously, I'm really not giving a lot. I'm really not going to end up giving a lot of downs. So something's got to get a down on this episode. So that's going to be the down. And then obviously it kicks right off to the theme song, and it goes right back to the group with So yeah, basically it goes back first to Wick, Jesse, Gabriel, Michonne, Sam, Ron, and Carl. And Rick realizes that there's no way they're gonna get to the weaponry room, just because there's just too many walkers to deal with. So he comes up with the idea that he's gonna go out to the quarry, get a car, and just drive them all out there, and they'll all lead him away. And Jesse's like, "Well, what are you gonna do with Judith?" So Gabriel offers to take Judith, and keep her safe back at the church. And Rick accepts, which kind of and Gabriel said that he will keep her safe. He's determined to. And this I thought I'm gonna give this an up, just because throughout the past couple of seasons, with season 5 and season 6, obviously Rick really didn't trust Gabriel all that much. So I thought this was an up, and I thought Gabriel actually improved as a character in this episode. I really didn't like him all that much as a character, so he gets an up in this episode. So Gabriel himself gets an up. And basically what happens is Rick and all the others, Jesse offers to have Sam stay there, but that doesn't happen. He wants to, I guess, prove that he can overcome these monsters that Carol has been talking about. So he wants to go with them. So they accept, and even Carl holds out his hand to Ron and has him, and Ron ends up taking his hand, which I thought was kind of symbolic considering the fact about how they got into the fight the last episode. And then Rosita, Tara wants to go out looking for Denise because she knows she's in trouble, but Rosita doesn't want to. Rosita doesn't want to just go out there with a plan. That she realizes there's too many walkers out there, so they have to kind of wait for the right time, the right moment to pick their spots. So I kind of like this. This scene will get an up as well, because Tara was kind of thinking about this more emotionally because she cares for Denise, and Rosita just has a plan. So that gets an up. And then Glenn and Eden go back into the church, and Glenn's trying to find a couple of just random handguns they keep hidden in the church, so that way he can draw the walkers away, so that way he can save Maggie. And Eden then looks at a message that says, there is no faith unless you work for it. And I'm going to kind of talk, and then she asks Glenn a question, but I'm going to kind of talk about that because I want to talk about the Denise guy with the W on his forehead thing. Basically, Denise and the guy with the W on his forehead. I kind of like the dynamic they had together because Denise is the one that's always afraid. And the guy with the W on his forehead kind of knows how to survive in this world. He's adapted to it, and he tells Denise that we had to adapt and we had to learn how to survive in this world. We had to have a whole different way of thinking, and you're going to have the same thing as well, because basically he needs her because she's a doctor, so that's why he's holding her hostage, and Denise is just afraid. So I like this. I thought this was good. So basically what happens is they're going to wait for kind of the walkers to leave, and then eventually, actually I can't really say what happens, can I? But yeah, so Eden then asks Glenn what he meant when he was talking about how the people that you leave behind after they're dead. What did you mean by that? And then Glenn says, well, you typically would lose sight on who you are, and you walk out on the people who made you who you are. And Glenn talks about the people that made him who he is, and he basically kind of goes through the people throughout the past seasons. I may be wrong because he said them really quickly. I don't think he mentioned Herschel. So Glenn, you get it down for not mentioning Herschel, because Herschel was awesome. And as he's doing this speech, and he said, it shows Denise and the guy with the W on his forehead, and I thought it was very fitting to show them as Glenn is doing this big speech, because they're kind of going through the same thing that Eden's going through, just kind of in different ways. So this gets an up. And then obviously, Glenn, Glenn's going to go out and try to draw the walkers away from Maggie, and Eden wants to help Glenn. She says that she can handle herself, and Glenn, I guess, doesn't want to put her in danger. He said, I just didn't want you to give up on this place. It's like, well, I haven't given up on it. I'm here. I can take care of myself. I want to help. So she comes up with the plan that he's going to find the guns and distract the walkers. That way she can go up and climb up and save Maggie. So that's exactly what happens. And then she finds him, and yeah, this was a good scene too. I guess I already kind of gave the scene an up, but I'll give it another up because I'm generous with the ups. And then Maggie's gonna go out and try to see if she can kill off some walkers. And then they do kind of like this whole scene with Morgan and Maggie. This was okay. Was nothing really. This would get like a thumbs in the middle. This wasn't good. This wasn't bad. You know, Morgan's upset with Maggie's upset with Morgan because obviously he attacked her the last episode. So you know, Maggie says, I could have killed you just right now, but I didn't. And then Morgan says, well, you're not that type of person, and you didn't. This was obviously leading to a plot device, but I think the storyline needs to kind of go somewhere. And Morgan coming back really should be more of a big deal than what it is. But yeah, this is just a thumbs in the middle. This wasn't good. This wasn't bad. It was filler. So thumbs in the middle. Now let's get to like when the episode starts to get like really good. Now it's basically when this next scene happens. So Rick and I'm just gonna say and everybody else. It's everybody that but Gabriel that I mentioned. Are walking through the town of Walkers, and Sam starts to get freaked out. Because obviously Kale's speech about how the walkers will eat, the monsters are going to eat you, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Start to get to him, and yeah, he basically starts to get afraid, and Jesse is trying to convince him to get over it. Ron's even trying to kind of goes back to normal, and then the zombies eat Sam. So this obviously makes Jessie very upset because that's her son. And I love the way like the tone changed within the episode. Because you kind of heard this from Wick's point of view, where he didn't hear anything, he started to go crazy. Just like when Lori died basically in season 3. And yeah, basically you hear everything from his point of view. And then Ron completely goes crazy and threatens to shoot Carl, and Michonne kills Ron because he's a liability basically, and then this causes Carl to get shot right in the eye, and this kind of snaps Rick back to normal a little bit, and Michonne run off with Carl. This was an awesome scene. This gets a massive up, and I loved it. I thought this was great. It did actually end off the Sam storyline in a good note because it really wasn't all that interesting of a storyline. But I thought that it made sense that finally Carol's words got to him, and the fact that that it actually worked because he actually did get eaten by the zombies in this case, which are the monsters, and his mom couldn't do anything about it. So I thought this was a great scene, and I like the way they produced this scene and everything. And then obviously, because the zombies hear this gunshot go off, this gives the guy with the W on his forehead and Denise a chance to escape. And Denise wasn't supposed to stop, and so she gets afraid. And the guy with the W on his forehead's about to escape, but but then when Denise stops, he realizes basically that he's screwed without her, so he goes to go back for her, and then he gets bit by a zombie. So Denise makes an offer that if you can get me to the infirmary, she'll save his life, and that's exactly what happens. And then you can kind of see that Denise and the guy with the W on his forehead, maybe she kind of hinted that he started to change because he could have easily escaped, but since he went back for her, it showed that he was starting to change. And then Carol kills him, and then this allows the Denise to escape. And then Rick and Michonne run back with Carl, who's been all stabbed and who's all unconscious after being shot in the eye. So Denise works on him and sews his eye back up and stuff. And then Rick loses it, goes outside and starts murdering some zombies. And Michonne, Spencer, Aaron, and then there's some other people I don't really know the names of go out and help him. And this was an awesome scene. This was like the breakthrough of the town. The Rick's messages finally got through the town. Finally got to the town, I should say. Because everybody goes out there and basically murders the zombies. And it was great. Even Gabriel goes out to do it. And Gabriel does this great speech talking about how God's going to give us God's going to be the one that saves us and saves this town. And God's given us the strength right now to go out there and do it ourselves. And it was a great speech. And then obviously you had Eugene, who actually wants to give an office to go out to help. And typically he's kind of like the weakling of the group. So I thought that was great. And then, and then obviously afterwards, Glenn is trying to lure his wife away, Maggie, because all the zombies are about to knock this tower over, and Eden tries to save him. Glenn's about to get like mauled by a herd of zombies, and Abraham and Sasha show up with a bunch of guns and just shoot at him. Dale shows up, and he lets the gasoline out of the truck, shoots the RPG at it, and this lures the zombies, and everybody just starts killing them. And this was great. This kind of just was the town's breakthrough. So this gets a massive up. And then the episode ends with Rick talking about the speech. He basically sum it up by saying that he was wrong about this town. He thought that being behind the walls, nobody was going to be able to learn how to defend themselves, but they finally learned. They finally had a breakthrough, and he wants to keep this town going. He wants to keep Deanna's vision going, and he wants Carl to be a part of it. He wants to show Carl the new world because he thinks Carl is going to not make it. And then the episode finally ends when Rick takes Carl's hand and Carl squeezes it, and then the episode goes off the air. That was enough that Carl survived, and this episode was great. 8 out of 10. Why wasn't this? I guess the down was that this wasn't the mid-season finale. This should have been the mid-season finale. I think if this had been the mid-season finale, and then the mid-season finale itself had been episode 7, I think because this kind of like said now we can move forward, and basically season episode 9 could have been whatever the next episode's going to be. I thought this episode exceeded my expectations. It really was. I thought this episode wasn't going to be all that good because they had to recover since the mid-season finale was bad. And I think they recovered very well. I think this has probably been the best episode of the whole season. I think it was probably even better than episode 4, actually, too. I was going to say, well, maybe episode 4 is better. But episode 4, I think, may have been better, but this episode was great. I think this put The Walking Dead kind of back on track, at least for the season anyways, because they really needed to deliver a home run with the mid-season premiere, considering the fact that mid-season finale premiere was so bad, and they did. So I was happy about that. So that's basically it. But like I said, this really should have been the mid-season finale. Because basically it wrapped up all the storylines. It would have been a nice way to end it off that Carl survived. And it would have been nice. And then obviously, if this had been the mid-season finale, then you could have brought back Glenn probably in episode 6. And you could have, But then again, I could say, well, maybe get rid of the Morgan. I don't really know what... I mean... This is really tough to kind of say, too, because there's certain episodes you need. I would say maybe episode 8 should have been, and 9 should have been concluded into one episode. So basically, if the first episode was really, you can include the stuff within the first episode, and then maybe put this episode. I think these episodes should have been episode 8. This should have been the mid-season finale. Because basically, the mid-season finale was bad. Obviously, if maybe people would have taken this better if episode 8 and 9 had been one episode. I don't know, but overall, I still thought this was a great episode. So that's basically it, guys. I'm gonna review the next episode now, so stay tuned for that.